Hey, thanks for checking us out. This is Sports and Other Stuff. You can find us on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. We have a new episode every week. We have more than 100 in the can, so check it out. Thanks for being a part of it. Just subscribe. Thanks a million.
T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
Welcome to Sport Weasel Central. I'm Lux.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. You know, guys, Roger Goodell is a genius. He must surround himself with the smartest people. He took a backroom process called the NFL Draft and made it this mega event on primetime TV, multiple radio networks, and every sports talking head is talking about it. Lugs, T-Dog, good to see you boys. But did you know the NBA playoffs are on? No. Do you care? Baseball's in full swing? No. Do you care? The draft is such a big deal, the guys who predict, posture, and pontificate go by one name. Mel, Shefty, Waz, and, Lugs. Did that work for you? So what do you say, Lugs? That's quite an intro. Take it away. The draft, it's here.
Well, I guess you got to look at sort of the winners and losers as we talk about it up front before it actually happens. If you look at it, the Chiefs and Jaguars, man, they've got 12 picks each. Of course, the Chiefs picked up 4 by that trade with Tyreek, which put the Dolphins on the low end. So that we hope that all works out. I would say of the people who are picking in the top, I would say the Eagles will improve themselves greatly. I'm not so sure about the Jaguars and the Chiefs. Packers may get themselves a receiver. They need one. They definitely do that. So that's just my initial take on what we're looking at from the teams and who's picking first.
Mm-hmm. How about you, dog? It's a big day. It's a big week. It's a big weekend. It's big primetime TV.
I think to me, the team with the biggest in the driver's seat, it sounds like Lugs and I are going to agree on this, but that's fine. I think the Chiefs are in the driver's seat just because I know they lost Tyreek Hill. And besides possibly Jameson Williams in this draft, no one can come close to replicating what Tyreek offered them. That being said, they have 8 picks in the top 4 rounds. They've been to the AFC Championship game the last 4 years. They've been to the Super Bowl in two times in the last 4 years. They won a Super Bowl in the last 4 years. The only other major key component I'd say they lost is Tyrann Mathieu, who is still a good player, but he's probably declining a little bit. But they'll miss his leadership. That being said, other than that, I think to pretty much bring everyone back, they added Juju Smith-Schuster. They added MVS from Green Bay, the wide receiver, Vontaze Scantling. So they have those guys and 2 first-round picks. One of those I would assume goes to a receiver of some type, and they can load up on a pass rusher, another corner. So I just look at them and also what they really need: a receiver, safety, and pass rushers. This is a draft that supposedly, again, maybe there's not a superstar in this draft, but there's plenty of guys for them to get with the positions of need that they have.
Yeah, the Honey Badger. You're right. That's a big loss.
Now I'll spin it the other way.
Yeah.
It's going the other way. I would say a team that's most in the hot seat to me. I guess this is an easy one, but it's the reason why. The Panthers. I mean, the Panthers, they have Darnold as their quarterback still. They have a poor offensive line, and they have a high-priced running back in McCaffrey, who's only played 10 games in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
They have the 6th overall pick, but after that, they don't have a pick until the 4th round. So I just think with all these big holes that they have, because they traded a 2nd-round pick for Darnold last year, and they also gave away a 3rd-round pick for C.J. Henderson, the cornerback last year. I mean, I don't know. They've talked about like how they are willing to trade down, but still, is the quarterback they want really going to be there? Depending on how far back they go, they worked out all the quarterbacks, and people could say that's a smokescreen. I don't think you work out all the quarterbacks if it's a smokescreen. Maybe you work out one or two. Yeah, I'd say you probably really want one of them. So like they're kind of in a bind. They probably want to trade back to try to get to 203, but they don't want to trade back too far so they get fourth dibs on like the quarterback that they want.
Let's see, Mr. Ritter, we have an opening at 10:10 on Tuesday morning. Can you be here then? Yeah, it was like that, wasn't it? It's crazy. I think I'd like to see them get a good quarterback, though. They're deserved. I think they're in need of one, obviously. I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. What do you say about that, Lugs?
Well, yes, of course they need a quarterback. As far as going inside the draft,
go inside.
Like T-Dog said, I'm not sure that there will be a quarter when they get time to pick, unless they work some sort of deal. I think the quarterbacks will be taken. I could see them ending up with Baker Mayfield. I can just see that.
Good call. That's a neat idea. Yeah.
And Baker is better than Darnold, but not that much better, I would say. At least he's not shown it yet. And his downside is his social media nonsense.
Is he healthy? Do we know if he's 100% yet?
We don't know that.
Baker, no, I mean, I think he's done obviously with the surgeries, but still, I don't know if he's fit to throw it yet.
I don't think he's put out any workout videos or none of that.
He's too busy talking on a sofa, not scratching his dog's belly. So,
yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe he can't even scratch his dog's belly. So that should tell us how far away he is.
Now, I know that this is sort of out of, the bleachers in left field even.
We like it.
I think that they should try out Colin Kaepernick. I think that they are in a position, either them or Washington, the Commanders. Yes, I said Commanders.
Thank you.
They could benefit from Colin Kaepernick. I just think, there's just that old baggage that's there. I don't know that Colin will ever get a shot at it, but it would be nice to see somebody like those guys who have nothing to lose, literally.
But here's something about that. You know, he's 34 years old. We forget that he's been away a long time. He's not a kid anymore. I mean, that's for most guys, that's past your prime in the NFL. Maybe. I don't know.
Look, I always agree with Lugs on this. Even if he's 34, I think he's better than Sam Darnold. I mean, I hate to just kill Sam Darnold, but I mean, I think he's better than Sam Darnold. Now, was Washington? No, they already gave up too many draft picks for Carson Wentz. I mean, they can't take on Colin Kaepernick because they got to ride that train that two teams have ridden the last few years and gotten off of fairly quickly. So
you got your driver's seat teams, your hot seat teams. And then you got your passenger seat teams. What about some of the going to be on the outs?
Looking at it, I would say the Lions. The Lions and the Texans, maybe even the Jets. I mean, there's so much that those three teams need. It's just name your position and they need it, literally.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but most of those teams have multiple picks. So, like, I guess it's how you interpret a passenger seat. You're probably right. I mean, it is a way to interpret it. Even with all the picks they have, they're still not going to be good enough to make the playoffs. So you're right. They are a passenger team. How I looked at it as a team that even with, like, the Lions, if they really hit right with all the picks they have, they can be competitive and barely miss the playoffs. I guess the way I've used the passenger seat was I'm thinking of a team that is not even trying to win next year.
Just going through the red light.
And when I close my eyes and I think of that, I think of the Chicago Bears because the Bears essentially gave away Khalil Mack to try to get him off their contracts as much as they could for this year. I think only $6 million really came off. They had to eat the dead cap. Which, speaking of dead cap, for this year they have $45 million in dead cap, third worst in the league. Then they let Akeem Hicks Eddie Goldman, Allen Robinson, and James Daniels walk. All of those guys, some of them are older, some of them maybe didn't hit the peaks they should have, like James Daniels, but I think they're all talented. But they let them walk, and all they brought in was Lucas Patrick and Byron Pringle, which again, I'm not saying they won't work out, but they were definitely brought in on a discount price because either they haven't really got to show that they are a high level talent, or they're just there to kind of fill a year or two as a starter to some degree. I think they're looking to try to fix their O-line, get one starting receiver, and hopefully possibly get a 3 technique in terms of a defensive tackle. Other than that, they are not looking to contend. They can say whatever they want. You look at that roster right now, even with the draft picks they have, which is only 6 at this point, and that you start at 39 as their first one, they are not going to be able to field a roster, I think, that really even whiffs the playoffs.
Let the record show that T-Dog is wearing a Matt Eberflus autographed Bears B hat, the new model, by the way. So just so you know what that looks like, you can subscribe and check on our podcast, and we'll send you one in the mail. Hey, but so Justin Fields will just be another crash and burn season, you're thinking?
Well, I'll ask you, Lugs. I mean, I think he could show development and promise, but it's kind of hard. You have to. Would you agree? You have to temper expectations because even let's say they even get like a good wide receiver to be across, they don't have enough talent. They're not going to have enough talent to really compete, right?
I think you're exactly right there. I hope for Fields' sake that the offensive line improves enough to where he's not running for his life all the time, that can give him time to develop that first, second, and third look, wherever that's going to be. It's not going to be great talent out there. The running back situation is pretty good, actually, I would say. So that's okay. They just, they've got to play to his strengths. I would say a lot of bootleg, and, run it often enough and well enough to at least keep the defense some sort of honest. So with the Lions in that division,
what are you saying? What exactly are you saying?
I think that no matter what, they can be third in that division. And, I've never been a fan of Kirk Cousins, but I do think Minnesota can give them a handful. And the Packers aren't that strong without receivers at this point. So that's one of those divisions where if you could show up a little bit and win, say, 3 games that you weren't expected to win, you can make the playoffs.
Good point.
I think you're right. I just think their offense come from the little they've talked about, and again they keep it ambiguous. But I feel like they're going to lean on David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, the running backs, and then they're going to, like you said, you're going to do bootlegs. And you look at Darnell Mooney and you look at Byron Pringle, the both attribute they share together is speed. Hopefully, Darnell Mooney doesn't have the same attribute of reckless driving like that Byron Pringle showed just a few days ago, but like they're probably going to draft another guy who has speed. Like they're going to take shots downfield. I don't think they're getting all this speed to run a bunch of slants and curl routes. So I think you're right. They're just going to try to take big shots. He's not going to be systematic, I think, at least this year. And I don't think it'll be hard because their offense is either going to be Larry Borum, who is a second-year player, or Tevin Jenkins, who's a second-year player. And they have just a huge gap at one of their guard spots. So they're going to have to fill it in. And this is an evaluation year. You hate to say it for a second year. This is usually supposed to be the year the quarterback's supposed to take off, but it's just evaluation. Like you said, Lugs, Vikings have a good team. And I know the Packers don't have good receivers, but Aaron Rodgers is good enough. He'll work it out to some degree. They're still going to have a good running game. And I don't know. I think Detroit's going to be frisky. So I think Detroit might finish third and the Bears might finish fourth this year.
Dan Campbell. Right. All right. So who's going to get killed in the draft, or who will be one of the bottom feeders? Whoa, they did a bad job. What do you think?
Well, you look at it traditionally, I, I would say